Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and today we are going to be doing one of Connor's favorite films of all time, uh, favorite sequels. I don't know. I'll kind of let you speak for it. Back to the Future Part Two. I know your favorite movie is the first one. Obviously the trilogy means a lot to you, so it's kind of your birthday pick. We like to do that on our shows. Pick something a little bit more special, and this is kind of right up that alley for you.
Yeah, Back to the Future is my all-time favorite movie. Back to the Future Part 2 is my second all-time favorite movie. And I bet you can guess what my number 3 is. Uh,
Yeah.
these movies are sacred to me. I grew up with these. I've been watching these since I was like 2. I can quote them by memory. I love them. They're comfort food. They're special. And Part 2, I think, is one of the strongest sequels ever made. And I know there's a lot of bias in that statement, but I do think it stands up. The visual effects are fantastic. The story's great. The performances are amazing. Like it's great. It's a fun movie, and I think a worthy Oscar Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. You hit the nail on the head there with the visual effects. Still looks really cool, and when we give our awards out, I'll definitely be shining a light on something that I thought was just such an epic moment of the movie. That's the one nomination that it got was visual effects at the 62nd Academy Awards. We've been here. This is our fourth 1989 movie we've ever done. Dead Poet Society, Do the Right Thing, When Harry Met Sally, and now Back to the Future Part Two. Pretty incredible group of movies, and I'm excited. I'm excited to do this one. You know, it had been a while since I've seen the second one, so I went ahead and watched the first one, second one, and then of course I'm going to watch the third one the next couple nights because on FILMGAZM on Wednesday we'll be doing Back to the Future Part Three. So feels like a good time to be watching these movies and appreciating them. They're great, and we were just talking about before we hit record was that the trilogy of Back to the Future is still pure, is still intact. Do you think they're going to go back and fuck this up and do a fourth one day?
When Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale are dead, Universal's gonna fucking try. I'm just hoping that in their wills or estates, whatever, they put some caveat that like this movie goes in the vault. Don't you fucking touch it. Because they've been very adamant about this for ever since 1990 that there will not be a fourth movie. This is a trilogy. Don't touch it. No remakes, nothing. Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox have both been, very attached to this franchise ever since. They're very involved. They're not going to let that happen. Like people don't want this to lose its purity, and I respect that big time. There's so few franchises where people are just like, stop, don't do it. This is one of the few, and yeah, I hope we maintain that.
Yeah, that would be great because yeah, it's such a tight trilogy. You know, it's just 1985, 1989, and 1990. It's a really specific time and place. And yeah, I would hate for them to try to do something silly and it gets thrown on some streaming service and it's just not up to par with how effective these movies were and still are. Uh, yeah, that would suck. That would suck not only for me, but even suck more for you. You know, as you are a huge a mega fan. But I do think trilogies are fascinating. And you and I were talking about what we should kind of do here for the episode, and we kind of threw around some ideas. Then we were like, well, what if we did our top five trilogies? And with that comes, so you and I are always like this. We want to make it as difficult as possible for ourselves when we do a top five or a draft or whatever. So with this top five, we're gonna do top five trilogies. But if there's anything after that trilogy, so if there's a fourth movie like Toy Story, does not count. Star Wars, those do not count. Um, what else? What else? Lord of the Rings, those have the Hobbit prequel movies. Those do not count. So we got really down to the nitty gritty here, and I think we both had a harder time than we thought we would.
Yeah, but that was fun. It was fun getting to kind of
Yeah,
narrow this down as much as you could and kind of realize like, oh yeah, that does count now. Like there's one that has not been a trilogy, but up until recently, it's like, oh shit, that's a trilogy now. So I get to spotlight that. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be neat. I have no idea what you're talking about there. We don't share our top fives with each other until literally we say them out loud. So I'm very curious to hear what you came up with. I got pretty creative. A couple of them are definitely like fan made trilogies, so I'm excited to talk about those and kind of explain why I agree with them being trilogies. But yeah, but I also have three pretty cut and dry definition of a trilogy. So this is gonna be awesome. I'll let you start with your number five, and we'll just go back and forth like we always do. So take it away.
So this has been a two film series for a good 30 years. There was a terribly received remake of it that led to a rejuvenation in the old stuff. And thankfully, Jason Reitman delivered Ghostbusters.
Ah, interesting. Good. Okay, I like it.
Ghostbusters 1984, Ghostbusters 2 1989, and Ghostbusters Afterlife 2021. All three fantastic, fun, great movies that are just delightful watches. And they're funny. The third one was very emotional and thankfully wiped the 2016 answer the call bullshit off the face of the earth. And
Yeah. So what was that? I never saw that one.
it was a remake of Ghostbusters just with a female cast and a director who never liked Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Okay. I remember. Yeah, it was like Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were gonna they teased like Zool at the end of it, and everyone was like, "We're not watching another one of these."
Oh God.
But yeah, there is a fourth film in development right now, but since there's no trailer yet, the film does not exist. That's my rule. The film does not exist till there's a trailer.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and you get to shine a light on a 2021 movie, Afterlife, which is pretty solid flick. I didn't even think about those.
Yeah, I love these. I watched Afterlife pretty recently again, and it holds up. It's a cool movie, and it's well told, and I like the passing of the torch. Ivan's son Jason doing the movie. It works, and it's a wonderful tribute to Harold Ramis.
Okay, yeah, that's a good shout out. Rest in peace to Mr. Reitman, right?
Yeah,
Definitely someone who means a lot to nerds of nerds of cinema. So that's good picks. If you had to pick a favorite of the three, what are you going with?
oh, it's the first one. Like that's not even
Okay, yeah, okay, I agree. I was just making sure.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna ask that with all your trilogies. Which one's your favorite?
I want to know yours
as
too.
of course, yeah, of course. And this one will be easy because my number five is the Godfather trilogy.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, the third one sucks. I know, but the way I see it is, if I were doing averages of these movies as far as my personal ratings, the first one's a 10 out of 10, just pure masterpiece. The second one I would give a 9 out of 10, and the third one I'd probably give like a 5, maybe a 6. I don't know, just not very good. But those first two, it just doesn't really matter what comes after those first two. They're pretty damn good movies, especially the first one. That's my favorite, of course. We covered it on this show. Uh, Feels like, I don't know, 6 months ago now, and it was an absolute blast. It felt like one of the most important episodes we've ever done through FILMGAZM. Just this monumental film that is always showing up on top 10 list of all time, top 100 list of all time. It's one of those kind of undisputed masterpieces. And part two is pretty damn good. It's got Bobby De Niro putting in a really cool performance, playing, basically playing Marlon Brando playing De Niro. Like, it's just a cool cinematic connection, passing of the torch. And I've always just loved those two movies. The third one's fine, but I did want to have this trilogy in my list because it's somehow still a trilogy. I'm shocked. I'm shocked they haven't done something to make a fourth film, or they had the series, but it was about the making of the making of the movie, The Offer. I still haven't watched that, but I'm glad they haven't done something like, let's get Al Pacino back again. I'm glad they haven't really done that. So I'm happy to say it's still three movies.
well, yeah. The closest we got was that director's cut that Coppola released of the third movie that I still haven't
Yeah,
watched.
Neither have I. I'm just not really that interested.
Yeah. See, to me, it's like you're not going to make my top five unless it's three good movies. And
Yeah,
that's why The Godfather didn't make it onto mine. That's why The Mummy didn't make it onto mine. I love The Mummy with all my heart, but I fucking hate Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't like part three, Godfather Part Three. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. But I mean, it might Godfather, the first one might be my favorite movie represented in my entire list of all of all the trilogies. Just it felt. I kept trying to. I was like, should I put Mighty Ducks in there? And I'm like, Austin, what are you doing, man? Like, it's The Godfather.
I get that. Yeah, the first one's easily my favorite. I like two a lot. I just think it's way too long. And then three, I've seen like four times and I don't remember anything about it. It does not stick. It's so forgettable.
Yeah, that's its main problem compared to those first two. Yeah.
What I would have done is I would have scraped out all the De Niro stuff of Godfather 2 and I would have made that Godfather 3.
I'm with you there. That could be its own movie, and some of those scenes are the best scenes of the whole story. Right? It's De
Yeah.
Niro, like it's young De Niro too. It's like such a jaw dropping thing to watch. He's kind of at the peak of his powers in the mid '70s. But I agree with you. I think that could be its own film, and then you could still have enough in part two to have a really, really effective trilogy that would probably end up being number one on my list.
Yeah. Well, if Robert Duvall hadn't demanded too much money, Coppola would have been able to do his original vision for Godfather 3, but that didn't happen. So he did what he did, and nepotism killed the franchise.
Yeah, we can always go back to old Robert Duvall on this one.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's Robert Duvall. Just pay the man.
Yeah, and it's not just fucking kicking and screaming Robert Duvall. It's fucking '70s Robert Duvall.
It's
Like
Tom
come on.
Hagen. Like
Yeah,
we want Tom Hagen in this story.
yeah. Hagen's the fucking man. We want him putting horses' heads on people. Like this is what the people come to see.
Ugh. Okay, good start. Interesting start. I was not expecting that. Okay, right on.
And me, anytime I can talk about fucking Sonny, James Caan, like come on, it's that performance alone in the first movie is worth being in my list.
Totally get it. Yeah, I can't wait to do Godfather 2 probably next year.
Yes, definitely next year for 50th anniversary. Best Picture Showdown. Fucking Godfather Part 2 versus Chinatown, baby. Can't wait.
Clash of the fucking Titans. Uh okay. My number 4 is the first of two superhero trilogies on my list. Uh Spider-Man, but not the Raimi Spider-Man, the Holland Spider-Man.
Okay, so I didn't want to ask this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to know what you were going to put down. So these count.
Yeah, because they're separate stories. They're separate.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I could have done the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, of course.
Ah, shit. See, I thought because it was connected to other stuff.
Nope. The Raimi Spider-Man film standalone, the Garfield one standalone, and then the Holland one standalone, except for that third one, which decided to incorporate everything. But in terms of linear storytelling, they stand apart. That's the way I see it.
Okay, I see the same way. I just didn't want to. Yeah. Okay, I got too creative. Because I like the Tom Holland ones, but those first two Raimi ones, like Jesus H.
True, but Holland's got 3 bangers that are just delightful movies. Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. Especially No Way Home. God, what an event.
I still don't like any of those better than 1 and 2 from Raimi. That's just bias, though. It's just being, when you're a kid and you see those movies.
It is, but 3 is just so goofy. And I can't get past that. I've tried so many times. I'll watch it now without getting up pissed off, but I don't see it as like one of the better Spider-Man movies. Whereas for me,
oh no,
the John Watts, Tom Holland movies don't have a weak point. They're all 3 really, really good movies.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
Yeah, Vulture, Mysterio, and the closest we're going to get to the Sinister Six. Fuck yeah. And No Way Home is one of the most enjoyable theater experiences I've ever had. Just watching this incredible, impossible movie unfold before me. Like there's the idea that this even happened. I still think about it like, holy crap, we actually got to see that.
Yeah. You're
So
gonna be okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a big moment and a big movie and a fantastic film that was, kind of helped save the box office after COVID because it proved that we can still make $1 billion in the theater. And yeah, I love those movies, and I'm glad we have those.
So your favorite's No Way Home, obviously, and
Yes,
then what about the other two?
Homecoming probably next because Michael Keaton as the Vulture is just inspired. I love Jake, but I I feel like I've gotten to see so little of Michael Keaton over the years that anytime I get to see him, it's like a special moment. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I hear that.
and then
Uh,
Jake Gyllenhaal as a douchey Mysterio con man is just perfect.
yeah, I thought that casting was just like genius. And it kind of was ridiculous that Jake Gyllenhaal hadn't done something like that yet. That Marvel hadn't gone after him yet, because he could have been Captain America. He could have been plenty of villains. He probably could do anything within the realm of MCU. So it was kind of crazy. That was like that's what they got him for Mysterio. Like that was such a unique performance and really cool movie. I remember the first time I watched that where there's the twist, and it was really rewarding. I really like that one. I need to see all those again. But yeah, okay, yeah, I love that. I thought these movies that like were like IP like kind of didn't count. So I'm excited. So does Lord of the Rings count then or no?
To me, it doesn't because it's one story with members of the same cast.
True,
With
true. It's still like a prequel, The Hobbit. Yeah.
yeah, like with
Okay.
Marvel, I kind of get like to me, Captain America is a trilogy.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So okay, Captain America, like Winter Soldier and Civil War. Those are okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now that I think about it, um, yeah, I might have changed a couple of my picks, but that's okay. Now we're gonna have completely different lists now, which is great.
yeah. These are
So
just my rules. Like you don't have to abide by these. These are just what I do.
okay. Well, here's one of my rules for my number four. Let's see what you think about it. Um, on the Criterion channel and part of the Criterion collection is a trilogy put together by Finnish director Aki Kaurismäki, the Proletariat trilogy, Shadows in Paradise, Ariel, and Match Factory Girl. Three separate stories, all about the working class people in Finland, and it has been dubbed the Proletariat trilogy, to the point where they have built a little collection of the three movies that you can buy on Criterion for like $80, and it's the Proletariat trilogy. So you get this nice case, has that on there, has Aki Kaurismäki on it, and he's like a Finnish legend. These movies rule. My favorite's Ariel by far. It is so intense. My favorite thing about these movies is none of them are over like 85 minutes. All three of them are like so fast, so fun. There's not a ton going on. You kind of know where you are, like what characters you're following, and I had an absolute blast. I watched all three of them like in a week, back when I first signed up for Criterion, because I had never seen anything by Aki, and I know he's got a ton of stuff in his filmography that I still need to get to. So, Proletariat trilogy, really, really something I wanted to highlight because I want to go to the bat for those movies.
That's interesting. Yeah, you went thematic. Yeah,
Yeah,
thematic trilogies are complicated. Some people consider them trilogies, some people don't. I do. I went thematic on my number three pick. We'll get to that in a minute.
good. Okay, sweet.
But yeah, I remember uploading your reviews of these films, and you were very into these. You really liked them. Yeah, I like that you've kind of just been doing like little pockets of various countries' cinema over the years. That's a cool project.
It's kind of like I've always been a huge basketball and soccer fan, and a good way for me to connect with people from different places. Like when I lived in Romania, I would talk to people about different Romanian soccer players because I didn't know their language and they don't know mine. So like our way of communicating, breaking down that wall was sports. As I've gotten older, now I want that to be sports and movies. You know, I want to be able to, if I did run into a guy from Finland, I would definitely ask him if he's, watched any of this guy's movies and what he thinks about them. Uh, and I think that's like part of the reason we do it, is you branch out, you watch different things, and now you have a way to connect with other human beings better than you did before.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, that's what art does. Art connects.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the coolest things about being alive.
Absolutely. Um, and my number three pick is one of my favorite things about being alive. Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy.
Okay, good. I'm glad this is here.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Three fantastic comedies that just get better with every watch. All three tens for me. I love these movies. Shaun of the Dead was, the horror comedy, Hot Fuzz with the action comedy, and World's End was the sci-fi comedy. All with the theme of the Cornetto ice cream cone popping up in all three films. Hot Fuzz is probably my favorite. I think it's one of the most brilliant screenplays I've ever seen. Just the way it keeps flip-flopping the dialogue from beginning to end with different meanings and everything comes back a little bit. It's so smart. And plus all the bad guys are, British thespians, which I love. And I get to hear Edward Woodward, classically trained British actor, say one of my favorite movie lines of all time, which is, if we don't come down hard on these clowns, we're going to be up to our balls in jugglers. it's, it's fucking perfect.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I watch those like every few months just for kicks because they're some of my favorite films.
Yeah, they're an absolute blast. There's no weak link here for me. If I had to pick a favorite, it shockingly it'd actually be The World's End.
Right on.
I think that one is just so goddamn funny. I love the kind of pub crawl aspect of it. Watching Sean just be a fucking drunk animal is the best. So that's the only one I got to see in theaters. And I really like these. I don't watch them as much as you do, but I always respond to them. You know what I mean? And they've been my brother Jeremy. He owned these from a young age and was all about it. Simon Pegg was one of his heroes. So it's a really good pick here.
Yeah, I've gotten to do. I did some movie parties at Draft House, so I have gotten to see all three of these in theaters.
Nice.
And that was just the blast. And my cousins are really into these. Like they become, we'll quote it at each other all the time. Yeah, fantastic. I couldn't do a trilogy top 5 without these.
Yeah, I figured this was coming. I just didn't know. I obviously the three flavor thing. That like you said with the ice cream that's how it's all tied together, and the fact that it's same director, same actors. He's using the same people. So that's totally fair. And I expected it even to be higher. I thought this would be your number 2 behind, obviously. I know what's coming. I'm gonna stay in Europe here for a minute. We've done a little Finland action, done a little bit of the Brits. I'm gonna go to Sweden for the Millennium Trilogy. I got the girl with the dragon tattoo, girl who played with fire, and the girl who kicked the hornet's nest. I saw these at probably too young of an age, just because I didn't quite understand what was exactly going on. There's some pretty dark stuff in these movies. This is movies based on the novels by Stieg Larsson. Steig, I've heard pronounced both ways. I'm sorry. Rest in peace to that guy. He died a few years back. But I've read the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, fucking fantastic book. I saw the Fincher movie, and then I was like, wait, there's a whole actual Swedish, trilogy here. I need to see these. So my older brother Jeremy and I, we watched them all, and I was pretty blown away. My favorite's probably The Girl Played with Fire. the second one, which is rare, right? It's rare that the middle child is my favorite, but I I like all three for their own reasons. They all have a very different purpose to the trilogy. Dragon Tattoo. If you've seen the Fincher one, it's very close to the Swedish one, where it's kind of a detective type movie. You're kind of following these two different characters who are trying to figure out a murder. The second one very much hones in on Lisbeth Salander and like why she is the way she is, goes into like her family and whatnot, and how like kind of like disgusting her family was towards her. And the last one is about kind of her trial against the country that she lives in that wants to put her in like an insane asylum, and she won't have it. And it's very very rewarding to get through those three movies. They are very dark, but they're very good. And I knew right away when we were doing trilogies, I was like, yeah, I gotta have the Millennium on there because this was huge for me when I was like 14, 15 years old and has stuck with me.
Yeah, I got to get to these. I finally watched the Fincher version of Dragon Tattoo, and I thought it was great. Fucking horrific, but great. Um, and yeah, I would like to watch these as well. I will have to do that once I have some time.
Yeah, they are long. It's not a quick watch, and you probably don't want to do it all in one day. Be a be a dark day. But that's the I also know you watch stuff that's not quite easy to stomach all the time, and we're desensitized. But yeah, I think the thing you'll really really enjoy about this one is this trilogy is uh might be pronouncing her name incorrectly, but Numi Rapace. I don't know how to say it. You've seen her in other random shit, like
Yeah.
she was in fucking what was it, Prometheus or one of the Alien movies.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah, she was in Sherlock Holmes too.
Yeah. She pops up every now and again. She's amazing. She plays Lisbeth Salander just wonderfully. I love Rooney Mara, but there's just something about an actual Swedish woman playing Lisbeth that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, of course. I like when cultures get to adapt their own work in their own way too.
Yeah. That's one of the things that probably has it going against it as far as quality goes, is they got made really fast.
Mm.
And they sometimes to some people might feel like TV movies as far as just like production quality. That doesn't really bother me. I've watched low budget stuff, and
Yeah.
stuff that I really like. But like Dragon Tattoo Fincher, you're not going to get the same fucking just epic, style and editing and just pure budget. He got tons of money to make that movie. This is a little different. So if you're expecting, Fincher stuff, turn the other way. It ain't happening.
Yeah, good warning there. But yeah, I don't really, production value is secondary to story for me. So I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll have fun then. What's your number two?
My number two is the Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay. Here we are. So this is your second superhero one. So you do not have Captain America in your top five. So it's the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Yeah, the kind of the definitive cinematic Batman for a lot of people. Three, in my opinion, fantastic superhero films, an all-star cast, an understanding of Batman in a way we've never gotten before. Just seeing him as a flawed human trying to do what's right is great. I love seeing that. I love Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. His Batman leaves a bit to be desired, but Liam Neeson, Cillian Murphy, Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, and Tom Hardy all make up for that.
Yeah, Tom Wilkinson being at the top of that fucking list. What a what a guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Falcone, so great. Yeah, I love you get to see the origins of Batman, his tutelage under Ra's al Ghul, his fight with the Joker, and then finally, basically a No Man's Land adaptation with Bane and Talia. And I think they're all great. I love all three of these movies to death. My favorites probably Batman Begins, but honestly, it depends on the day.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
I'll catch a
sense.
glimpse. I'll catch a glimpse of Heath Ledger's Joker, and I'll be like, "Oh no, it's the Dark Knight."
Yeah, I hear that for sure. I definitely think my favorite part of the trilogy is, it's not anything original to say, but it's definitely watching Heath Ledger. Uh, my favorite scene from the whole trilogy is the opening scene of Dark Knight, the heist scene. I wish there was a 2 hour movie of just that happening over and over and over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Batman Begins as a movie is definitely the strongest. I think Dark Knight, when Heath Ledger's not on screen, struggles at times, just because he's just way better than everybody. I do think Aaron Eckhart's pretty good. I wish he would have got a little more time as the one of the cooler villains of the whole Batman world. Um, and I hate to say it, but I think Maggie Gyllenhaal is pretty shitty in that second one. Just like it just takes me down, takes me out of it, and it's like that. I hate. We just talked about this Back to the Future last night. I hate recasting in the middle of a
Yeah.
trilogy. Like I hate it. I can't stand it, especially when it looks like nothing like Katie Holmes, like nothing. And I'm just expected to like just go along with it, and that's what people did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hate to put points against Christopher Nolan's trilogy, but it's like, that's fucking annoying. The third one, I have a very hard time with. I really like some aspects of it. Some aspects I don't like. I hate to be the guy who's hating on women right now, but I don't think Anne Hathaway is very good in the third one either. I love Anne Hathaway, from like that famous Key and Peele sketch. Anne Hathaway's how are they gonna do her like that? I love her, but it's like the constant one liners. It's the constant kind of hamming it up a little too much. I thought Zoe Kravitz did a much better job of kind of balancing out the like corniness of the comic book stuff, and then also having like a down to earth, real, grounded character. I thought Anne Hathaway just didn't quite have that balance that I wanted. But Tom Hardy's quite fucking frightening in that one. That's the thing it has going for it. This trilogy is those villains. Is the first movie the combination of Wilkinson and Murphy, and of course Liam Neeson at the end. Heath Ledger just completely running the show, and then Aaron Eckhart at the end, and then Tom Hardy just being a fucking monster of a human being. Like that's worth rewatching over and over and over.
Yeah, you're right, and I do. I think Katie Holmes and Maggie Gyllenhaal for me both were miscast. I think we needed somebody
who
stronger.
Who should have been
2005 for I would probably Amy Adams. I would have gone with.
Ooh, I didn't even think about her, but yeah, that's like right when she was getting going. That's 2006. She's in Junebug, so that's like when she became a proper actress. Oh man, that would have been killer timing for Amy Adams. Plus, take her for the Nolan trilogy, take her out of the Superman movies. I don't know. I think that might bode better for her career. I like that a lot. That's a good call. I was thinking kind of changing it up at 2005. I think it would have been cool if they would have gone like Naomi Harris.
Oh yeah. What I also would have done, I would have erased the character of Rachel Dawes completely and replaced her with Vicky Vale, and actually put a comic book character in the movie.
That too. Vicky Vale is someone that I really like reading about. So I think that would be, and that could be that's also something you could have fun casting, right? So there's all kinds of people that could play Vicky Vale. And 2005, I feel like Amy Adams could also do Vicky Vale.
Yeah. Or just have it be Selena Kyle from the get-go and make her Catwoman in like 2 or 3. Maybe she fakes her death and becomes Catwoman.
Okay, that I can roll with, because I think if you give Anne Hathaway the space in the room that Michelle Pfeiffer had to develop into the character like over the course of the movie, I think it can be more effective, especially if you give her a whole trilogy. Like Anne Hathaway, super talented, mega talented. If you give her Batman Begins to just be a love interest, and then maybe in Dark Knight she starts to kind of, something happens and she becomes Catwoman. By the third movie, you get the one-liner kind of like almost hamming it up because we deserve it as audience members. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. Anne Hathaway could have been in the whole trilogy. That would have been neat.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy is not without its flaws. It's got, some big things, but the films are so goddamn enjoyable that I overlook a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it's Nolan. It's one of the production guys, one of the big budget guys that we have that can do whatever he wants, making superhero movies, and doing pretty damn good at it. So it is a very special moment, and you have to credit Batman Begins and Dark Knight for a lot of the success that superhero movies have had over the past 2 decades. It's not the only reason, but it's a big reason.
Yeah, I think, without Batman Begins, I think the Academy probably doesn't begin to recognize superhero movies as legitimate cinema for quite a while.
That's totally fair, which is sad. You gotta give credit to The Incredibles for screenplay and Batman Begins.
Yep,
that's great.
Exactly.
2004, 2005. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Dark Knight trilogy, you're number 2. All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. My number 2. I'm very excited to talk about this one. It was almost my number 1. I love these 3 movies with all my heart. They're all 3 nines, straight across the board. It's the Paranoia trilogy from the 70s. Clute, The Parallax View, and All the President's Men. Just all of them, close to masterpieces for me. Everything, every person in these movies, Sutherland and Fonda and Clute, Jesus H, they're on a different level. It's probably my favorite Jane Fonda performance. I'm a big fan of hers. So really into that one. I know you got to see that not too long ago for the first time, and I was just so jazzed that you went down that alley.
Yeah, I really liked Clute. I loved All the President's Men.
Yeah, God,
I got to see The Parallax View to finish this off. But yeah, good shout out there. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, it's the best, man. And we've talked about Warren Beatty on this show before. The Parallax View is the movie that made me totally believe in him as a performer. Because I wasn't totally sold on some of the stuff I had seen so far. I like him, but I don't see the the critical acclaim that he has.
Yeah,
I'm starting to understand it more after watching The Parallax View. He's just lights out. He really carries the movie. Whereas these other ones, it's it's fucking two major players, and All the President's Men were with 2 of like the greatest fucking rock stars ever during that movie, Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, and then Jane Fonda and Sutherland and Clute. Parallax View is really carried by Warren Beatty, and I have to give him credit for that. These movies rule. All 3 of them directed by Alan J. Pakula, and he is an incredible writer, director, producer. Means a lot to this era of movies. My favorite era for sure, my favorite decade in the 70s. And this is 1971, 1974, 1976. Like, this is a tight 5-year trilogy that deals with conspiracies and paranoia and trying to figure out what's going on around you. And I do think my favorite, at the end of the day, my favorite's probably All the President's Men. You just can't beat it. You just can't. It also is a very fascinating story on its own.
Yeah.
The scandals, the Richard Nixon, that bastard. It's just got it on paper, got a lot of cool stuff going on, and then you add in the cast that's here, and it's just fucking nuts. It's lights out. Probably I love Hoffman and Redford together is like a dream, but the Oscar nominated performance from Jason Robards, rest in peace, that guy was the fucking man. His performance in that movie is textbook supporting, come in, fucking take over every scene that you're in. And I love him in this movie. Ned Beatty's great in this movie. Hal Holbrook's great in this movie. Jack Warden, everyone's. It's just a fucking man's movie. Everyone's just lights out. So I love that one. I just rewatched it a few months ago, and I forgot. I was just like, man, this movie damn, it's 1976 is one of my favorite Best Picture years. You got, Rocky, Taxi Driver, All the President's Men. It is just a awesome year for movies. And sometimes I'm like, All the President's Men should have won. Sometimes I have it. Fucking Network was up that year. It's just a sick Best Picture group. And usually I go to bat for Taxi Driver, but I don't know. Today it's All the President's Men.
Yeah, I love, the Watergate scandal is such a fascinating story just because, one asshole leaves the door unlocked and it evolves into the biggest political scandal we've ever had in this country. Well, so far. But
yes, yeah, we got
yeah. They were talking about Nixon. He never tried to overthrow the goddamn government. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I love this movie. My only gripe is that it ends right when I wanted, I was hoping to see the trials. I wanted to see them take these fuckers down, but we never got that movie. But this is about them. It's not about Nixon. It's about Woodward and Bernstein and their investigations. And I get that, but I just wanted an 8-hour documentary.
That's kind of, man. I've been thinking more about how movies end. Not so much, they stuck the landing, but more so leaving you desiring more. And I know we're going to get to your number one trilogy here in a minute. That is my favorite part about Back to the Future 1 is when it ends, you're like, I need more, but goddamn, that was just a diamond. It was just cut like a fucking diamond, that movie. And if there was never a trilogy, if there was never a sequel, it still would be just perfect. Just because the way it ends, it can stay where it is, and you're kind of like, yeah, Doc and Marty keep going on adventures, and we have no idea. Or it could keep going, and it keeps going, and is extremely successful. But that's the best. All the President's Men could have kept going. It could have been a sequel. There could have been a sequel to that motherfucker, but they also left it the right way, where it's like, damn, that was a good movie, but I could keep going for another hour. That's good filmmaking. That's it's not ambiguous. It's just leaving you kind of still hungry a little bit. So you're like, I don't know what to do. So what you do is you end up going online and reading about it or rewatching the movie. It's such a powerful feeling.
Yeah. As much as I would have loved All the President's Horses.
Yeah.
I don't need it, but the movie did inspire. I went out and I bought the book because I want to read the book. I want to read exactly what got left out, how the intricate process of, how carefully they went about this. Cause this was they screwed anything up, this all falls apart. It's fascinating. It's one of my, I want to do it on Fake True Stories, big time.
Ooh, that would be an ambitious episode. I love that.
Yeah. Going into Watergate. Well, that'll be a challenging one. So down the road that we're going to do that.
I like that a lot. I think that's really, really unique. This All the President's Men is one of those movies that we could do on multiple shows just because it kind of knocks out different things that we're all interested in. I feel like everybody on the FILMGAZM team would like this movie.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, good shit. Paranoia trilogy. If you haven't seen those movies, please check them out. Do yourself a favor and go down the 70s road of paranoia. All right, take it away. Number one.
I'm pretty sure I know what yours is too.
Yeah, we're both about to get pretty personal here.
Yeah. If you know me at all, then you know that it's Back to the Future. I mean, come on. I have had loyalty to this movie since before I could walk.
Yeah.
This is a perfect trilogy. It wasn't even supposed to be a trilogy. This was just supposed to be a one-off, but the first one was such an insane success. Universal wanted another one.
See, okay, I knew it. You can feel it. You can feel at the end, they're like, well, that was nice. We wrapped that thing up, but they still left the door open, just ajar.
Yeah. It's crazy how difficult Back to the Future's road to production was. It took forever for somebody to believe in this. And it took Steven Spielberg watching Romancing the Stone to say, all right, I'm going to help these guys. And here we are. I think all three are fun, are really well written. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd's chemistry just grows, and I love them playing multiple characters in each movie.
Yeah,
especially part two. Part two is loaded with multiple performances. Fox plays regular Marty, then Marty Jr., then old Marty, and Marty Jr.'s sister Marlene. All Michael J. Fox. I love that. Yeah, it's a they're I watch these every few months just because why not? Uh, I've seen all three of these over 100 times at least. Uh, they're my all-time favorite movies, and honestly, I could never say enough.
Yeah, it's kind of like, where do you go from here? It's one of those, sometimes stuff just, when your head hits the pillow, you're like, at least I have these. you know, it's one of those things, and I totally understand. I hear that, and I see the passion. Just, it doesn't even need to be anything you say. I can just tell when these movies get brought up. There's just like a glow. there's a glow. There's a glow about you. There's a just an innate thing where you can't hold back. You're just like, yeah, I fucking love these. You'll ride for them no matter what. Yeah, he's got a t-shirt on. He's got the fucking Back to the Future t-shirt on. I love that they stuck with, for the most part, pretty much the same cast. Zemeckis, bang bang bang, doing all the legwork as far as directing here, right? I know he does the first two. He does the third one, right?
Zemeckis directed all three, and then he and Bob Gale co-wrote all three.
There you go. Makes sense, right? There's never a time where you're like, this isn't Back to the Future. You feel you're in the right place the whole time. My favorite one is the first one by a ways. I think that one is just outstanding, and one of the 80s movies, one of the quintessential, you have to see, like, American movie making. You have to see it. It's right up there with Raiders of the Lost Ark, movies like that, where you're like, you got to see it. You got to see it to kind of see the movie magic. I like the second one. I haven't seen the third one in a while. I am going to watch it soon though, because I like, why not? I've already watched the first two, so it's been fun going back down that road. I hadn't seen Back to the Future since we did it on episode like 20 of this show, so it's been a long time. That's a long time ago for me, and I've had a blast. I've had a blast this week just going to these movies. So it's great. It's great to be able to do these. It's going to be cool that you get to knock out part two here in a little while. We're going to give awards out to it, really hone in on what we like. We're going to look at the ceremony, and then on Wednesday you get to talk about part three. So, like, fuck yeah, that's a great space for you to be in.
Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm delighted. It's always fun when we get to talk about our lifelong favorites. The episodes are just, it's almost like we can't stop talking.
Yeah, or for me, it's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. That's certainly, I feel the same way you do about Back to the Future as my number one. It's the Before trilogy. I'm going with Link. Yeah,
I knew it.
I'm sticking with my guy Linklater. These shatter me. These movies break my brain, break my heart. I just go watch them. I don't know what to say. My favorite one's the first one, Before Sunrise. Partly because it's the one I saw where I was like, the fuck is this? Like, you can do that. There's a romance movie. That's the way I would make a movie. If I were making a love story, like, this is what I would do. And that's my favorite thing about Linklater, is he's constantly on like a wavelength that's what I would be doing if I could make a movie. I would fucking totally want to make Boyhood. I would totally want to make School of Rock. I would totally want to make Dazed Confused. Everybody wants some. Slacker. Everything he does for me is fucking gold. I very much treat him the same way you treat Zemeckis, where it's like, fuck off, this is mine. And there's nothing you can tell me that's like wrong. Everything he does is gold. I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear otherwise. So I love this trilogy. One day we'll go down that road and do Before Midnight on Oscar Sunday. I'm sure it's a tough movie. It like wouldn't be that much fun to do. You're talking about a relationship imploding, and like very, very real, serious arguments that make you very uncomfortable. But it's so worth it. Getting there is so worth it because of the time that you spend, the patience that Linklater has, that Ethan Hawke has, Julie Delpy, that they have for these movies. 1995, 2004, 2013, same people. same relationship, same life. It's fucking crazy. So I can't believe he has that in him to just see that through with not only this trilogy, but with also Boyhood. That's something I admire, and I don't think very very many filmmakers have in their arsenal is that kind of patience. So love you, Linklater. You're always gonna be my number one in this. The Paranoia trilogy is the only one that could come close, but this is cool, man. This is fun. You went with the Ghostbusters trilogy for number 5, the Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy for number 4, Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy for number 3, Dark Knight trilogy for number 2, and Back to the Future for number 1. In reality, Back to the Future would be my number 5, but I knew you were gonna have it. So I was like, let's shine a light. We have completely different lists, which I love. We got to highlight 10 different trilogies. I think that's good. So I went with the Godfather trilogy for my number 5, the Proletariat trilogy for number 4, Millennium trilogy for number 3, Paranoia trilogy for number 2, and the Before series trilogy for number 1. So those lists define me and you as movie fans. That's my favorite thing about these top 5s.
I nearly had the Before trilogy at my number 5, but I left it off because I knew you would have.
You did. Yeah, we've been doing this for a while.
I gotta say though, my favorite is Before Sunset.
The middle one.
The middle one.
I mean, they're all great. They're like all 10s for me. Yeah.
I just love I've always loved the idea of second chances, especially when it comes to love. And the one that got away, meeting her again, and what you would do. I love that, and that movie encapsulates that fucking perfectly.
Yeah, it really does. It's obviously such like a romantic idea that 10 years down the road, you run into someone in a foreign country and you're like, oh my God, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Even if I'm married and have a whole life back where I'm from, I have to seize this moment. It's such a powerful thing. And Ethan Hawke, man, you just fucking Jesse. Love that guy so much. He goes from total prick in the first 10 minutes where he's like just quoting, like I'm a smart college guy, in the first movie to where you're like, I really feel for this guy, and then in the third one you're like, shut up. Shut the hell up. You're like, you feel every emotion that he has. It's incredible.
Yeah. Reminds me of one of my favorite Beatles lyrics from the song I'm Looking Through You. Love has a nasty habit of disappearing overnight. Well said.
Yeah. Well said. That's cool because you remember in Boyhood there's the moment of when he's explaining to his son about the Beatles.
Yeah, the Black Album, that whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, I carefully selected these songs. And he's like, you hear the solo stuff, there's Ringo, oh my God, there's Paul. He's like, all of a sudden it's the Beatles. He's like, that's the thing about them, there is no weak link. Such a dad moment, where you're just going to bat for something you love, and your son's like, yeah, Dad, all right. Cool. Good shit, man. This is fun. This is one of the more rewarding top 5s we've done in a while.
Yeah, I agree. We really got to explore a lot of different stuff here, and yeah, good kind of appetizer for this one.
Yeah. Speaking of appetizer, right? Back to the Future is the main course here. Back to the Future Part 2 is what we will be eating today. Jesus Christ, man! Watched this last night. We're recording on Saturday during the day. We never do this. It's very weird to see light outside as we're recording. This is very rare. I can't remember the last time we did this during the day. It's usually fucking super late at night on Friday or Saturday night, and yeah, this is odd. But we adjust, and Connor always is very flexible with all of our personal lives and what we have going on. I'm gonna go see a concert tonight, so we're like, yeah, we got to knock this out during the day, and I kind of like it. I kind of feel energized right now. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because you're not like coming off a 8-hour shift and you're super winded, and I know I'm trying to not fall asleep. That's why we feel energetic.
Yeah, and I had a nice cup of coffee from this place called Caffeinated. Delicious stuff here in San Antonio. And I'm ready to talk about Back to the Future Part 2. I forgot how much I liked this one, how much fun it is. I give so much credit to the first movie. The second one, it's very layered, right? You know, you got the 1955 stuff, you got the alternate 1985 stuff. If you can, you know, watch it a couple times and keep up, it's very rewarding to kind of go through this jaunt. The most incredible thing about it is it's still like an hour and 40 minutes. Like, thank you, Zemeckis. Like, there's something that these 80s movies understood more than they do now. Like, you don't have to be 2.5 fucking hours. You know, you can be wit fast and still have fun and explain a lot of stuff by having a good screenplay. And that's what we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people's problems with the second movie is that there's so much crammed into it. You know,
It's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, like, you know, we got 2015, then we got the alternate 85, then we got 55, and I get that, but to me, you know, I've seen this so many times, like, it's just fluid. Like, I don't even, like, it's seamless for me. Like, I have no problem keeping up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's a very creative screenplay. I like the idea of, like, you know, yeah, if you went back in time to give yourself gambling tips and you fucked up, you're going to cause some serious damage.
Yeah, I love that. You know, the sports almanac. I think that's such a cool touch on this. You know, it's such a realistic thing that people would do. Uh, it feels human, and in a movie that's so grand and it has such a huge scale, they could have done anything, but the story goes there. It's such a unique place to go. But I don't know. It's like my favorite part of the movie is because that's what I would fucking do too. I'd be like, yeah, let me fucking
Yeah.
bet on sports. Come on.
That's one of my favorite things about these films is that Marty, you know, our hero, our, like, you know, the guy we're connected to, is just this regular 16-year-old kid who's like, holy shit, I'm traveling through time. And never, like, he never loses that, like, wonder, that grandiose, like, I should not be here kind of feeling. And when he gets the opportunity to be like, I could make myself rich, like we all would, he's like, I'm going to buy that book. I don't know how he bought that book. He doesn't, like, I don't think he's got a credit card valid in that 2015, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that 50 Doc gave him for the Pepsi. um, but
yeah. Here, I love the money scene when he like opens up and he's got all these different years of different cash. Fucking Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd's the fucking man. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way and hear what you think about this. Tom Wilson, love him as Biff. In 2015, is he going a little too hard? Is he going a little too hard at it?
You mean as Griff?
Yeah, as Griff. Yeah.
Well, they said, you know, the way I saw it was Doc said, you know, he's got a few short circuits in his bionic implants. So I assumed the bionic implants made him like super hyper aggressive. And he's just like constantly, you know, he's got the tannin DNA, which already makes him an asshole. And then he's got, you know, robot brain parts. And I assume he's just like constantly at 11, freaking the fuck out at everything. So yeah, I didn't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, like he's like, just growling, like the scene in the diner. I'm just like, dude, fucking Tom Wilson is like going for it right now. and I love Tom Wilson. The first time I was introduced to him was Freaks and Geeks when I was younger. Like, he's the PE teacher in that TV show. And I love him in that show. And of course I was like, okay, yeah, he's also the guy from Back to the Future. He's just fucking turned all the way up in part 2. Obviously Biff, like you said, you know, the first one, and the second one is just a complete dickhead. Like you know, what are you looking at, butthead? But yeah, as Griff, I was just like, Jesus, man, it's like he's got screws loose.
Yeah, he's crazy. And also I think, you know, Wilson had to do something to separate Griff from the other iterations of Biff Tannen he's going to play. So to make Griff stand out, I think he just went like, what if Griff is the psycho?
yeah. It's like, well, because Biff's already at 10.
Yeah.
You can't go down.
No.
You can't be like a boring version of the Tannins. You can't be like a nerdy version of the Tannins. You got to go higher than Biff. So that was really the only place to go. I was laughing. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, Tom Wilson, dude, you're you're fucking going for it.
The way it is for me, Biff is the asshole, Griff is the psycho, and Mad Dog in part three is evil. So
Quite evil. Yeah. Uh, although Biff in alternate 1985, like Pleasure Paradise or whatever, pretty evil motherfucker.
well, when you're going to base your bad guy off of 80s Donald Trump, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, I love that scene though. I love when they first get there and like you got all the motorcyclist guys, and I think it's like such a breathtaking scene. The best part of these movies is the visual effects, the production design, all of the movie making that's happening, the commitment to the hoverboard scene at the beginning when he's riding on the water and they all crash into the glass. It's like they didn't need to do that, but they went that extra mile,
Yeah.
to make it that much more engaging. There's no way for you to look away while watching Back to the Future because there's always something interesting happening on screen, and that's just kind of the magic of it. I can't. Can you imagine seeing this movie in theaters in the '80s? Like, fuck.
That scene where they all fly into the courthouse, I always get a kick out of Griff screaming, "I was framed," as he's being dragged away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the little details, the little moments, especially in part two, because there's so many cool things that they kind of predicted would happen in the future. Like Miami almost did win the World Series in 2015.
Okay, and the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. That's pretty crazy.
That's creepy. That's some fortune teller shit. Flat screen TVs.
The Nikes. Yeah, like people wear those big giant fucking high top Nikes. People love those shoes.
Yeah, it's weird. Nostalgia cafes, that's a big thing now.
Yeah.
One detail that always kind of made me a little sad was in the newspaper that Doc shows Marty, like, this is what happens to your son. There's an article on the side that says Queen Diana prepares visit to America.
Ooh.
Because that hadn't happened yet, and people we assumed Elizabeth would be gone by 2015, and that certainly didn't happen.
That's tough. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's weird. There's little things like that throughout. And I love that.
Yeah, again, that's a reason why you can rewatch it over and over and over. Is those things? There's always something to look at. So yeah, God, man, this movie's kick ass. I'm beyond excited to do these awards, man. Part of me wishes we would have waited a little longer for Back to the Future, just because like we're so much more comfortable now doing this stuff. But at the same time, that felt like a very crucial episode in our kind of passion as far as Oscar Sunday goes. It feels like one of the tentpole episodes of this show where things just kind of started changing around that time on this show specifically. And I don't know, something tells me that doing your favorite movie has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I could have, done a podcast on Back to the Future when I was 8, but yeah, it was just a long time coming. An entire life's worth of memories and things to talk about were just poured into that one, and are going to be poured into this one as well. So anytime we go after Back to the Future, it's significant for me.
Yeah, and so now what's crazy is when you do part 3, that's it.
I didn't even take notes. Like, I was watching it, I'm just like, this is great. I didn't write a single fucking thing down. It's all in here.
Yeah, you don't need it. Did you know what your award's going to be for this one?
No, actually, I didn't. That's always tough for me doing awards for my favorite movies, because I got to sacrifice some stuff. I got to have some, reflective moments of like, what do I truly think is heads above the rest in this film? And that's difficult.
Very difficult. And this one, I had an extremely hard time choosing awards for really all 4 categories. There's one that I'll say I'm just biased. I'm just biased, and I'm like, before the movie even started, I was like, I know where I'm going with that one. But the other three, yeah, that had a tough time. Like I at one point I had just paused the movie and I was like, man, what quote is what quote do I really connect with? I ended up kind of going with a quote along with a moment. Kind of like what it means. Not so much like, oh, that was incredible writing, but more so the combination of the story and the filmmaking and the performance. So that's where we'll start. We'll start with the Tarantino. Then we'll make our way down. We'll do the Ennio Morricone Award for music. We'll do the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for performance and the Roger Deakins for best scene. So I'll let you start with your Tarantino. I can't wait to hear where you go.
Yeah, this has always been one of my favorite lines in the whole franchise because it's one of the dumbest things anyone's ever fucking said. Um, it's when Marty goes to Biff's pleasure paradise to talk to him about the almanac. And Biff's like, all right, sit down. Like, what do you know? And Marty's like, you tell me when you got it and how. And Biff's like, all right, fine. And starts telling the story of how he ended up with the almanac. And this is what he says. So there I was minding my own business. This crazy old codger with a cane shows up. He says he's my distant relative. I don't see any resemblance. Without fail, always laugh my ass off like, you fucking moron.
Yeah, it's the same guy. Yeah, he's such a goddamn moron. I laughed, I like cackled during the scene back in the 50s with Biff when he is with those kids in the neighborhood and he grabs the ball and like throws it. It's just such an asshole. But it just made me laugh because I was like, he's such a dick that like I don't know anybody that dickish, in my life.
Never. Right. It is like it's so over the top. He's just such a complete total piece of shit to everybody. It's amazing.
Yeah. I love when he screams at his grandma as he's leaving. It's just like, this guy's a loser. At the end of the day, he's the definition of I'm gonna make fun of people because I'm so insecure. Like he's just the stereotype of that. I'm gonna bully everybody that's in my way because I don't even know who I am. Like it's great. It works.
It does, and Wilson pulls it off. Every version of Biff he plays, stands out, and it really works. It's a great performance that I think gets overlooked in this franchise.
Yeah, no, it's like absolutely quintessential to the film. Yeah, obviously Marty and Doc get a lot of the love, but he's really our third character. He's probably on screen third most by a ways.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard he's also really nice, which is funny.
I can totally see that. I can see him just being like everybody's uncle, just hanging out. Like he's just one of those guys.
If you ever want to see it, he's got a stand-up special called Bigger Than You. It's really funny. It's on Prime, and I think it's in full on YouTube. But he opens with a song about Back to the Future. It was pretty good. He's a pretty good comic.
Okay, that kind of blows me away. I had no idea. I usually go in these phases of stand-up comedy where I won't watch for months, and then there'll be a 2 week span where I'm like, I'm gonna knock out a bunch of specials. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. It requires a certain amount of awareness and patience when you watch a stand-up special. I think I have to be in a certain mindset to like appreciate it the right way.
Yeah, I totally get you. I'm pretty similar. I got my favorite guys. Whenever they got one coming on, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this immediately. But
yeah, like Tom Segura is one of those like, okay, well, I'm stop what I'm doing. Bill Burr is probably up there. These modern guys who just put shit on Netflix constantly, and that's always fun.
Oh, totally. So what's your Tarantino? I'm curious.
Yeah, considered it for my Deacons. It's one of those kind of like moments, like I said, it's a big moment in the movie, but also just good stuff makes you really think. It's when Doc and Marty are in the time machine. They're about to leave the alternate 1985 to fix everything. Doc says, time circuit's on. And Marty says, what do you mean time circuit's on? Doc, we're not going back now. And Doc says, yes, we are. Marty, Doc, what about Jennifer? What about Einstein? We can't just leave him here. And Doc says, don't worry, Marty. Assuming we succeed our mission, this alternate 1985 will be changed back to the real 1985 instantaneously, transforming around Jennifer and Einie. Jennifer and Einie will be fine, and they will have absolutely no memory of this horrible place. And Marty says, Doc, what if we don't succeed? And we get the coolest line ever of the Back to the Future series is when Doc says, we must succeed. And then boom, they fucking go off. And you're like, I feel like you're 10 years old again. It's really cool.
That's great, man. I love preceding that when Marty jumps off the tower and rises up with the DeLorean, and Biff just goes, what the hell? Just slapped at the door.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those moments are great when he's like, there's two of them?
Like that bit right there where Doc hits Biff with the car door is the only interaction that Doc and Biff have in the entire franchise.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now you say that, but I would have never assumed that or guessed that.
Right?
I love when movies do that to you, where you're like, you just assume, oh, these guys are in it, so surely, But there's only one time where Tom Wilson and Christopher Lloyd actually had to work on screen together. That's amazing.
Well, in 3, like they meet a lot in 3, but that's not Biff, that's Buford Tannen.
Yeah, correct. So Biff, Tom Wilson as Biff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really neat.
But I like your pick. It's very much like, we got to do this or else. Like there's no, failure is not an option. We have a lot of lives to save here.
Yeah, I love Doc. I love his existential crisis that's happening the entire time, where he's like, fuck, what was I thinking? Like, why did I think I could bring along anybody else to time travel and see different things and do all this stuff? Like, why did I think that could actually be done?
See, I think he's thinking more like, he never blames Marty for any of this. He's always like, it's okay, man. We're gonna figure this out together. He blames himself for even building this damn thing in the first place.
Yeah. That's the coolest, and that's the opposite of like a quite possibly a canceled TV show, Rick and Morty. Like he's like treats Morty the opposite of the way Doc treats Marty. It's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, possibly canceled. Fuck, Justin Roiland, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yeah. I mean, of course, fucking course,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, good choice. There's a lot of great lines in this. I could have gone with one. I'm gonna save because it's part of my Deacons. But
okay.
Yeah.
I like the old Biff, young Biff bit. You always did have a way with women. Get the hell out of my car, old man.
It's so weird for an actor to have great chemistry with themselves.
Yeah. Tom Wilson, baby. I love the scene with when we go to 2015 and we see Marty at his home talking to Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. Yeah.
Needles.
Yeah, that's fun. And then his real boss is like, I just saw all that. Yeah, you fucker. Yeah. That's a good scene. I love the moment between, Elizabeth Shue when she's like, I'm young, I'm old, So that's a good moment. That's the recasting that sucks, right? And you explained it to me. So it like made more sense after you explained that, there was like with what's her name, Claudia Wells.
Yeah.
There was like a family thing going on, and she, they couldn't stop production. I just thought she was so good in part 1. Really, really a damn shame she didn't get to finish it off.
Yeah, and that's no disrespect to Elizabeth Shue. She does a good job stepping into her shoes. But I do think Claudia Wells was better, and I wish she'd gotten to see this through. Damn shame.
Yeah, it just sucks. Yeah, Jennifer, I'll always correlate her with like the scenes before anything actually happens, like when he's auditioning in the first movie for the like Battle of the Bands thing, and she's right there watching, and like I'll just always like, that's what comes to mind, is those beginning moments. Or when they're sitting outside and her dad shows up to pick her up, and she's like, I'll be at my grandma's, and writes down I love you and the phone number. I'll always kind of like, those are like really sweet, tender moments, and I'll always think of those. Yeah.
if you think about it, if she had never written her phone number on that paper, Marty wouldn't have saved it, and he would have been trapped in 1955 because he wouldn't have had the information on the lightning bolt.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's like a massive, massive moment for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's intentional, you know. Every little thing that happens, that's kind of, I think at the end of the day, it's kind of telling you that what you do matters in life. Like things that you do, how you treat people, how you treat scenarios in your life, it matters. Like take it seriously, give a shit about it. It can come back to bite you in the ass, or bite your kids in the ass, or so on and so forth. That's like my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing about the movie. Is like do the right thing, fucking do the right thing, you know. And I'm down with that. That's a really cool message to put inside of a time traveling movie.
Yeah, I mean, look at the butterfly effect of part two. Marty, because Needles calls him a chicken, gets in that race, rams into the Rolls Royce, breaks his hand, loses his music career, loses his confidence. Jennifer marries him out of pity. He raises his kids to have no confidence. Marty Jr. ends up falling in with Griff's gang. He goes to prison.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I love that. I love that. I love that. You know, that's what was really cool about us picking Back to the Future and me picking like a Linklater thing is those like Linklater also does that all the time. Like his movies are all about like there are multiple paths. There is like an alternate reality always. Slacker, his first movie, that's what it is about. Is like every and not just every decision you make in real life, but when it comes to movie making, where the camera goes is where we go. And like that's you're playing God. Like you have power when you're behind the camera and you choose every fucking moment that happens. You know, and with Back to the Future, I appreciate the decisions that are being made by Robert Zemeckis. I appreciate the way this story goes, the way he takes it. It's very, very cool. I don't think there's a lot of wrong turns.
Every time you bring up Slacker, I just keep thinking of Principal Strickland just screaming it in students' faces.
Yes, Slacker. I love when he's fucking shooting. Oh, it's such a good scene. Those guys, it's like a drive-by. Marty's like, "What the fuck?
Eat lead, slackers." That was almost my Tarantino.
That needs to be on a t-shirt. Yeah. Oh man. Good shit. Oh yeah, this is exactly where I wanted this to go. I'm having fun here. Ennio Morricone Award. I know that I know this score means a lot to you, so I'm curious where you took this.
Alan Silvestri's score is amazing for Back to the Future, but you know what? I love the needle drops just as much.
Oh, dude. Epic stuff.
When Marty arrives in alternate 1985, starts realizing, okay, something's wrong. And he goes to the courthouse and sees what Hill Valley's town square has become. And Sammy Hagar's I Can't Drive 55 starts blasting. And I'm like, this is the perfect sleazy song for a shitty, gross 80s town. And I was just like, I was floored every time. I think that's the perfect moment.
Yeah, I almost chose the same thing. God, that's such a sick needle drop. It's like, yeah, the way it hits too, you know, him looking around with all the motorcycle like gang members behind him, just kind of like fucking hanging out, you know, in this honestly pretty realistic 1985. Let's be honest, like these like big cities in 1985. This is like what the urban areas look like. It's just fucking chaos, just a fucking jungle. So I think that scene altogether, as far as production design and like movie making, that's like my favorite bit of the movie. Really of the trilogy. I just think it's so powerful. Like that 1985 is just so sick.
Well, I love the sign he like Marty walks over that says "Welcome to Hell Valley" because it's been vandalized. It's like, could you get a better description of this world? This is Hell Valley.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I wonder if Zemeckis thought about Hell Valley before he even wrote these movies. Before these movies, he went pen to paper, and he's like, at some point in my story, I'm gonna fucking use that. It's like he does that over and over with these. It's like there's so much intention and so much, you know, power in the story that you feel like this all came to him throughout his whole life. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm gonna put that in there, put that in there, put that in there, and you get this trilogy. So, I almost chose the same thing, but I did want to stick with the score because yeah, Alan putting in a shift in these movies. I mean, good God, you know, super iconic scores. And you know, the part that stuck out to me was kind of a slower, more eerie bit of the score towards the end of the movie, and that you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The track is called Western Union, and it's when, you know, we don't know what's going to end. You know, we don't know how the movie's going to end or how, you know, how the story's going to unfold here. It gets kind of scary in 1955, and but Doc fucking Christopher Lloyd's always got something up his sleeve, right? And this is when the guy delivers the letter to him from Western Union, delivers the letter to Marty, and it's from 70 years ago. And you're like, God, that fucking Doc always knows what's up, always knows what's going on. You know, he is, you know, possibly the most important character of the trilogy. And I love that moment. And the score is kind of eerie, kind of scary at times. And it slowly kind of picks up. And you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be okay. Thank God. Marty's going to be okay. I responded to it a lot last night when I was watching it. And I was like on the edge of my bed. Well, you know, I started up, you know, up on my pillow, kind of hanging out. And like about an hour in, I was like, I've like moved closer and closer to the screen watching this movie. It was a cool viewing experience for me.
This is cool. You're rediscovering these.
Yeah. Yeah. For you, you're like, yeah, this is fucking child's play, you know, but, yeah, for me, it's, yeah, I'm going, that's why I do that with a lot of like, quote unquote, classic movies. Like I haven't seen Indiana Jones in a while. I intend to keep it that way because I know it's going to come up one time and it's going to be the right timing. It's going to come to me. And I can't wait for that day because it's going to be really rewarding because it's been so long since I've watched, you know, Raiders, Temple of Doom, and Crusade. You know, I'm stoked for that when that does happen.
Well, you know, considering we got a fifth one coming out in the summer, this could be a good opportunity to.
It is during the summer when we do get when I really feel confident about the release date and it gets closer and closer.
Yeah,
I'm putting Raiders on the fucking schedule for Oscar Sunday. We're gonna do Indiana Jones properly. Like it has to be done. And I'll watch fucking Crystal Skull too. You know, I'll watch all of them. That's just how it's gonna be.
Did you catch who the Western Union guy was?
No.
It's the jackass guy from Happy Gilmore.
Okay. What is that guy's name? I know exactly who you're talking about. Also, Elijah Wood's in this movie as the video game kid.
Yeah, he's fucking, like 5. Yeah.
Fucking Billy Zane.
Yeah. A lot of random people. Okay.
That makes sense now that you pointed that out. Jackass. Love Happy Gilmore. If only it was up for some Oscars.
Oh yeah. Some other great music moments. Beat It playing in the Cafe 80s when Marty goes in there.
Dude, like just brilliant touch.
Yeah, I know this is a weird one, but Goldie Wilson III's like commercial that's playing in the town square. We're like, we'll convert your car to a flying car. The weird like hurdy-gurdy music that's playing in that commercial. I always like that.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah. It's just this movie's. These guys are so aware of what they're doing. It's like they know they're making movies, man. You know, it's just as simple as that.
You're gonna love Silvestri's score for Part 3 because he converts the Back to the Future theme into a Western theme, and it's great. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Even in Part 2 at the end, when you have like the little Western moment, you're like, Jesus Christ! Like Silvestri's just like, I can kind of do anything. You know, if you want this to become, you know, like a horror movie, I'll do that too. You know, like it's just like he's just a proper composer. You know, one of the legends.
Damn straight. And this is his masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. Back to the Future.
Yeah, you know, this might sound crazy. Really, really like his score for Polar Express.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. That's biased, you know, ever since I was a child, you know, I saw that in theaters and I was like, God damn. There's another one Just another one I like. I'm trying to remember.
For me, his like what comes just as close as Predator.
Oh yeah, fucking lights out.
And then what he did for the Avengers films, I think the score for those
Oh,
are beautiful.
dude, yeah, fucking like Endgame, like amazing shit in Endgame. He's a composer for the moment. He knows how to really hit it home that we're watching something unique, something special. I believe he also did my favorite thing about Spielberg's Ready Player One is the score. I'm pretty sure he did that one as well. Forrest Gump. Yeah, the guy's got a nice resume.
Yeah, he's to Zemeckis what Williams is to Spielberg for the most part.
Yeah. He works with legends. Sadly, only 2 nominations. That's best original score for Forrest Gump and best original song for the Polar Express. So that's that's upsetting.
Yeah, he should have way more than that. But yeah, music is great in this movie. Yeah. All right. Well done.
Yeah, love this. All right, PSH. This is the one that was a little bit easier for me.
I believe I gave it to Christopher Lloyd for the first one. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yes, we both did.
For this one, I gave it to Tom Wilson.
Okay, there you go. I went Lloyd again. I can't get enough of I can't get enough of him.
Totally get it. He kills it every time. But in this one particularly for part two, I think Tom Wilson outshines everybody. He's playing, 4 different versions of Biff in this movie. We've got Griff, we've got old Biff in the checkered pants and the red shirt. We've got 50s Biff, and we've got evil 80s alternate Biff. And all of them stand out. They're all, very distinct characters. And I think he's very menacing and creepy and sinister in this movie. And I just think he gave his best performance of the franchise in this film.
Okay, yeah, great argument. He's doing the most probably, or not probably. He is. So yeah, I can get behind that for sure. I'm very biased. Christopher Lloyd is just my guy. He's appeared in so many massive things for me in my fandom of pop culture. So I've always been just addicted to him as a as a performer. Nobody looks like him. Nobody has the eyes that he has. Nobody has kind of the weird frame kind of stature that he has. I can watch him all day. And I don't know. He's old. He's fucking old now. And I don't know. As we see more and more people just inevitably pass, I know it's coming for him. That's gonna fucking suck. He's like one of those guys where it feels like, legends never die. He's like one of those guys. So I always want to try to appreciate him while he's here, rather than wait for that inevitable moment that we all have. And I don't know, man. He's like, I think he was born like in the 30s. So this dude's old, man. And he's the fucking man in these movies. Doc is one of the coolest 80s characters, coolest, popcorn movie characters of all time for me. Love this guy to death. My introduction to him was these, but then when I saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I was like, who's that guy? And I was like, oh my God, it's the same, it's Christopher Lloyd. It's the same guy. And those moments matter a lot as a movie fan when you make the connections that you do and you become like attached to a certain performer. That's what happened to me when I saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Him and Danny DeVito. They're really, of course, it's Jack Nicholson's show, Louise Fletcher's show, but those side characters, Danny DeVito and mainly Christopher Lloyd, like steal my heart in that movie.
I get you, man. For me, obviously, it was Back to the Future, but it was also Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah, Doom. Yeah, we talked about that not that long ago. Yeah,
I know, that was a blast. I adore Christopher Lloyd. I've been watching Cheers, and he had a guest spot as this like crazy artist guy who was like, "I must paint you, Diane," and it was great. He got really pissed at Ted Danson and called him a malignant growth.
Fantastic.
It's perfect. Uh, yeah, I've been very, thankful that pretty much everybody involved in all three of these films is still with us.
Yeah.
And I know that when they start dropping, it's going to hurt. And I don't want to, I'm not looking forward to that at all. I don't want to see that.
Oh, of course not, man. All of them, these movies are, Back to the Future is coming up on a 40-year anniversary in a couple years. Like, when you really think about that, you're like, oh my God, it's a long time. That's a long life for a movie this good to have, and everyone involved, of course, fucking Lloyd was already 50 years old, when these movies came out. So yeah, it's definitely important to recognize it while it's here, while it's still alive and well. I've always believed that. Fucking Lloyd has 3 Emmy wins. Isn't that crazy?
Taxi, right?
Taxi for 2, and then the other one, yeah, Best Supporting Actor, Taxi, 2 years in a row, and then Road to Avonlea. I don't really think I know what that is.
I don't either. It must be a mini series or something.
Outstanding lead actor in a drama series. I mean, we probably need to try to find a way to watch this. Christopher, oh no, it does not look like it's up my alley. A young rich girl is sent to live with relatives on Prince Edward Island in the early 1900s.
Yeah, no. I'll just stick to Back to the Future.
Yeah, but Christopher Lloyd was won Best Actor. Like, it's crazy. His 3 Emmy wins, no Oscar nominations. That's fine. He's a character actor. Those guys very rarely get the love they deserve. But he went. He's one of the only people that's ever won 2 Philip Seymour Hoffmans for me on this show. Maybe the first.
That's delightful. That's wonderful.
He's racked up 3 PSHs if you count your vote too from part 1.
I wish we'd been I haven't been saving that information on my phone or anything. I wish we could go back and we'd have to listen to the episode and chart it out. But I'd love to see who got how many of those we've given out to who.
Yeah, I have. That's really dumb because I write everything down on paper. I'm big on pen to paper. So any of our drafts or any of our top 5s, I write them down. And then I always write down my awards while I'm watching the movie by pen to paper instead of using my phone. And I should be writing yours down too as we go. I should have always, especially the PSH. That's all I have to do is write a name down. So I'll start right now. Tom Wilson for Connor.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to backtrack all that shit.
I'm sure we both know what we did for most of them, right? I vividly remember the first one that stuck out to my mind. I like when we split.
Yeah.
Like when we did Chinatown, I went Jack, you went Faye Dunaway.
Mm-hmm.
When we did The Apartment, I went Jack Lemmon, you went Shirley. I love when that happens.
Yeah, that's great. Always, leads to a fantastic conversation.
I want to say when we did Poltergeist with Caleb, we all 3 had different people. I'm pretty sure. I might be incorrect about that, but no,
you're right. You gave it to Craig. I gave it to the wife. I forgot her name, and then Caleb gave it to Heather O'Rourke.
Okay, that's someone. Yeah. I definitely remember Caleb and I remember both of us kind of agreeing that O'Rourke it's just unbelievable what she did. That's the best when that happens. And right here, I went Lloyd, you went Wilson, so that's perfect. All right, here we go. This is what I've been waiting for all day. The Deakins, the Roger Deakins Award for best scene of the movie. Talk to me about how you narrowed this down and how'd you choose?
Well, I just sat down and I just watched and I enjoyed, and I just I was like, oh, that's good. I'm like, oh, that's better. Oh, this is big. And eventually I settled on the scene between Biff and old Biff in the garage, in the car, when old Biff's trying to sell him the almanac. It's so great. It's hilarious because young Biff is like, you are so full of shit. Why are you still here the whole time? And old Biff's like, young me is such a fucking dope. He's just so especially when when young Biff tells him, like, make like a tree and get out of here, and old Biff slaps him and he's like, it's leave, you idiot. Like, him telling himself, like, you're a damn fool. It's fantastic. I love when he's trying to prove the almanac's power and he like puts on the game, and he's like, I bet you $100 UCLA wins, and young Biff just goes, what are you, deaf, old man? He said it was over if you lost. It's so, he's just so angry.
Yeah, just pissed off before anything even happens.
Yeah, I love that whole bit. It's great. I love that, Marty's in the back seat the whole time just hearing this unfold. And yeah, I think it's cool that Tom Wilson's one of the few actors who has like fantastic chemistry with himself and just comes through in these scenes between him and his younger self. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, what a cool thing to be able to do as an actor, is play multiple versions of yourself, even relatives of yourself. It's like it's got to be fun. Got to be fun to do that, and you can tell Tom Wilson's just having a blast, just going for it. Tom Wilson has never really been able to. You would think he had a different career after these movies. It's really quite sad. I don't know why that happened or what it is. Maybe you have more knowledge on that, but I feel like he's perfect for these kinds of movies.
Well, basically, he got typecast. He got, people don't even know his name. They call him Biff.
It sucks.
Been that since '85, and he's had some random stuff like CW had that show Legends of Tomorrow, which was like a time traveling superhero show, and Tom Wilson played the head of the like time bureau or whatever it was called.
Yeah,
and that was nice. You got to see him again. They did a Back to the Future joke where somebody in front of him tells somebody to make like a tree and leave, and he goes, I don't know if that's how the phrase goes or something like that. It was a cute reference, but yeah, he's never really eclipsed Back to the Future's shadow in ways that, Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox were able to do.
Yeah, it's sad. I'm looking at his IMDb here. I mean, so much TV work the past few years, and like all kind. It's like all kinds of shit that he's clearly just like, I'll just do what I can. It's just sad, Appears in one episode of this, one episode of that. I did not know this. He does multiple voices on SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that. He's been in like 30 episodes of SpongeBob. That's pretty great.
I think he was Flats, the bully who like wanted to kick SpongeBob's butt.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick your butt. Yeah. He also plays Patrick Starr's, I think, dad, Cecil Starr.
Of course.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. He plays a couple of those cops that show up, like the weird fish cops that. Have you seen this man?
He was the captain in the movie The Heat.
Yeah, that's okay. That's another thing I was going to point out, which is brutal. His four, you and I like to play the game, the IMDb game, the four movies that they're known for. It's Back to the Future 1, 2, 3, and The Heat. Come on, he's worth more than that. Come on,
he's good. I wish that people could look past. People ask him to call them a butthead every day of his life.
That sucks. I couldn't do that for that long. Maybe for a few years I'd be like, yeah, you butthead, but then I'd be like, okay, I'm a human being. I've got more to me than that. And he's
stand-up special he did. He opened by saying, I just want to let you guys know my name is not Biff. My name is Tom.
Yeah. My name is fucking Tom. Yeah. And at this point, he's going to be 64 years old here in this year. Pretty crazy to think about. That's a nearly 40 years of having to say butthead over and over. That's got to get old.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse. I mean, on one hand, he's got a legacy here that will live forever, but on the other hand, that's all he's got.
True, right? He's got to be grateful for it in some capacity.
I mean, he attends the conventions, the fan the reunion specials and stuff. So does Leah Thompson. Crispin Glover doesn't. He's been pretty distant from this. He's weird.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but everybody else actually, like, This movie, he sued the production for using his likeness without his permission in the archive footage of George dancing at the dance. That,
Interesting.
that actually started the precedent of like if you're going to use an actor's likeness in a film, you have to pay them for that likeness. This was the first time that had happened. So that
Okay.
resulting lawsuit led to that, which has been a Hollywood staple ever since.
Okay. I didn't know this is where it began. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
When George is hanging upside down in the future, that's not Crispin Glover. That's Jeffrey Weissman.
You can tell, right? Yeah, you're like that ain't my guy. Crispin Glover. The first time I saw him a kid was I went to the theater to see Like Mike in 2003, and he's a total asshole in that movie. But he's very very good at it, and I was always frightened by him in that movie. What's crazy about that one is you got at one point Crispin Glover and Jesse Plemons, young Jesse Plemons, are like teaming up as the bad guys in that movie, and I was like, this if those guys if they made a movie now as like bad as villains in a movie, it'd be fucking sick.
That is weird. I always liked Crispin Glover as the creepy thin man in the 2000 Charlie's Angels movie.
Yes. Oh
Uh,
yes.
I love that he didn't like the lines his character had, so he just decided I'm not going to say them. I'm just going to shriek like a maniac, and they're going to use what they can get.
Fucking
He's a
fucking
strange
monster.
person.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's pretty unsettling in the first movie when he's watching TV and he does that weird laugh. You're like, that's fucking creepy. Like, what he's doing, when they're at home. Is it Leon Estates? Is that right? That's the neighborhood.
Lion Estates.
It's called Lyon. Okay, I always wondered because Lyon's like a city in France. I wondered if it's a weird way to spell lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved that, but it's he's creepy as the dad in the beginning. You're like,
I think
what's wrong with this family?
I think he does a good job in the first movie, but I do think it is a weird choice in terms of casting, and I bet they had a lot of issues with him.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. So Crispin, didn't think we'd be talking about him this much. Okay, so your Deacons is the moment in the garage between Biff and Biff and Marty witnessing it.
Yeah. You want to be rich?
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. That's rich.
Oh, that's great. I want to see if you can guess what I went with here.
The moment Marty finds his father's tombstone.
Oh, that's a good choice. I wrote that down, but I went with something else. At the end of the day, I wanted to choose what I thought was the most impressive filmmaking in the movie,
Okay.
and why I think still stands the test of time. I wanted to choose a scene that relied on heavy visual effects to get through it because that's kind of what I know. Remember most about these movies is how impressive they look for their time, and it's when Marty and is fucking riding on the back of Biff's car on his, and Biff's looking back, he's listening to the radio, listening to college football scores, and he's like, oh, what the hell? And then you have, fucking Christopher Lloyd, you have Doc hovering above. It's such an impressive scene. It looks so good. I love the use of the flags coming down.
Mhm.
And he gets pulled up, and then of course the I hate manure. That's like one of my favorite line readings of all time is Tom Wilson. I hate manure. It reminded me of a movie from last year where I was like, the fucking light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, that's another reference from that Nope. Nope was shouting out Back to the Future Part 2 with the flags coming down from the fucking spaceship thing. 100%. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Jordan Peele was like, I'm gonna throw this little thing in there, this prop that I saw in a little 80s movie called Back to the Future Part 2. I have no doubt in my mind, he's referencing movies left and right in Nope, and I thought of Nope, and I thought of, God, I love when movies do this. I love when movies remind me of other movies, and the sheer intensity of the scene comedy of the scene and the filmmaking. Like, how did they do that? It's one of those in 1989. How do they do this? How do they get all this stuff to work? And Marty's fucking hovering. He's not just writing something. He's hovering on the back of that car. I love when he kind of looks into the car on the side, and Biff has no idea what's going on. He's just I love hearing the football scores like USC beats Washington 47-14. All that stuff. It's just incredible filmmaking. I had to go with it. It's close to the end of the movie, and it's quite possibly the climax of the movie. I just really, really enjoyed it.
I had that written down before, like about halfway through the movie, I'm like, yeah, the tunnel chase is pretty good. So I wrote that down. But then the Biff dialogue happened. And I'm like, I can't. I gotta go with this.
Yeah. The Biff dialogue is great. Biff. At the end of the day, Biff is involved in every great scene. Let's be honest.
He is because he's always, just they're always having to deal with him. He's an obstacle, a walking obstacle.
Yeah, just a big fucking idiot. Another scene I do love is when Doc and Doc meet.
Oh yeah.
But not quite, and he's like got his back turned to him and he starts walking away all weird. And the other Doc looks at him like, the hell was that? That's so cool. I love seeing two fucking Christopher Lloyds on the screen together. Because we don't get that. It's not. We see a lot of Biff and Biff. We see a lot of Marty and Marty. Seeing two Docs is really special.
Yeah, that's the only time we get that. And I love it's right off the phone, the call of Doc being like, do not let your other self see you. The consequences could be disastrous. And then other Doc's like, hey, you. And he's like, shit.
Yeah, it's great. The cursing in these movies. It's great. When movies just have the F word flying around every other minute, like in The Big Lebowski or The Departed or movies like that are famous for just cursing a ton. It's an art sometimes. When you're making more of a family oriented movie here that's for everybody, you got to be picky and choosy. By being picky and choosy, though, you're being realistic. So when Marty does say shit, it's a big moment. It's a big moment. I love that.
I love that you could say holy shit in a kid's movie in the 80s.
Me too, man. Me too. Because it's harmless. Let's be honest.
I miss that. One scene that I always loved is after, George decks Biff and everyone's like, yes. And then Marty goes over there to be like, all right, give him some air. It's okay. I know CPR. And the guy's like, what's CPR? He knocks Biff out and steals the almanac. And that guy's like, did he just take his wallet? I love that.
Brilliant.
Like Biff has no desire to go after George after all that. He wants Marty's head.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it goes from father to son there. It's a great bit. I love that whole dance sequence at the dance. It's just like awesome filmmaking. Watching Marty kind of creep up on Biff and try to take it out of his pocket, and then Strickland shows up and he's like, "You're a sucker." It's such a good bit. And he's like, "Do I smell liquor on you?" And he's like, "Liquor? I wouldn't drink that. I'm not allowed to."
I wouldn't know what it smells like. I'm too young to drink it.
Yeah, it's such a good bit.
I love when he's like, "What is this, homework, Tan?" He's like, "Well, it ain't homework because I ain't at home."
Fantastic. God, this movie, man. It's fantastic stuff.
Oh, it's delightful. I'm so glad we got to do this.
Yeah, this has been great. This is a lot of fun. Is there any other moment in the movie you want to spotlight before we talk about the visual effects category?
I love when Marty goes up to the Pleasure Paradise and watches like the info commercial on Biff Tannen and learns about, all the horse races and Biffco and Mad Dog Tannen, the full foreshadowing they do there. I love that. And he learns that Biff married his mom and he like freaks out and the gang.
Yeah.
We could do this the easy way or the hard way. Just fucking Billy Zane.
Yeah. What is Billy Zane doing in this movie?
I have no idea, but I love that he's here. Yeah, I could go through this whole damn thing. I love this movie to death.
Yeah, it is one of those you could just go point A to point B, knock out the whole movie. I I for one think it's a really good decision to not have too much 2015.
Mhm.
What we do get is almost spot on for they filmed this movie in 1988. It's quite remarkable like how accurate they get it, but they don't go too deep into it. They know their limits. They're like, all right, let's not try to predict everything. Let's try to nail the things that we think are going to happen and move on with the 1955 stuff, the 1985 stuff. I really appreciated that. I love when they first get there and Marty has that. I mean, he's a high schooler. He has that little boy wonder where he's like, Doc, I gotta see this. Like, I gotta check it out. And Doc's like, in due time, like we have a tight schedule here. And I love the beginning scene of that movie when he gives him the shoes and the jacket and the hat, the iconic hat that now people just wear around. It's great stuff. The introduction to this movie is great, and you get the. I always thought it was an interesting decision to start the movie by redoing the last scene of the first movie, and then we see that Biff, witnesses it. He's like, "What the fuck just happened?" And that kind of is kind of what the movie's all about. Is Biff keeps catching them, different versions of Biff keep catching them doing stuff that's like, wait a minute, what was that? Like, what's going on over here? And it's kind of a cat and mouse game the rest of the movie. So everything's so intentional, and you gotta take your hat off to Mr. Zemeckis. This is, I would say, it's hard. I'd say number one is his undisputed masterpiece, and then part two and Roger Rabbit are tied for number two for me.
Damn. One more thing. When Biff comes back to 2015 after stealing the DeLorean,
Yeah.
I just completely don't question the fact, like, how did he know about the time circuits? How did he know about Mr. Fusion? I just ignore that. But he comes back and he like breaks the cane and he starts like dying. Like, it's kind of unclear like what's happening to Biff in that moment. But there's a deleted scene that I don't think they ever filmed it, but they intended it in the script. In 1985, in the alternate 85, Lorraine killed him.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she shot him and he fades away. The deleted part that they cut out is he passes out behind that dumpster and he is erased.
Jesus.
I know that would have been a little too dark for this movie. I'm glad they didn't.
I like it though.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my last bit. But I just wanted to point that out there.
Okay, very nice. I like that. So, yeah, what version of these movies do you have? Do you have like a specific like Blu-ray set, or what is your? How do you watch these?
I have a Steelbook Blu-ray collection I got for Christmas a few years ago. I'm holding out. I'm gonna get the 4K as soon as I can afford it. So I can have these as I've had these on tape. I've had these on the DVD collection. I've had these on 25th anniversary Blu-ray. I've had these on the 30th anniversary Blu-ray. I buy these every fucking time they come out.
Okay, yeah, I don't own them. You have them on Vudu, so I just I watched them that way. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. You have over 800 movies in your Vudu now. I don't know if you noticed that, but
proud of that.
yeah, I was like, Jesus, you just added a whole slew of random stuff. Then I was like, God, he just broke the 800 mark.
Well, if people wouldn't leave their codes in inconspicuous places, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that high. That's so. Thank you, people who don't care.
Thank you, mostly old people, I assume, who trade in their movie collection and don't ever actually open it.
That's exactly right. They don't know that they could have had the movie and sold the movie. Best of both worlds there. But whatever. That's for us to know and for them to just not to forget about. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Let's go through the category that it was up for, and then let's talk about what other stuff it should have been up for. Best visual effects. Obviously, it should win. Back to the Future Part 2 just is leaning on it for some of its most important scenes, and it still just holds up. These movies still look so damn good. The Abyss won the award. I haven't seen that movie. I have a hard time believing that it should be Back to the Future, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, come on, really? There's only three movies in the category, so it's The Abyss winner, Back to the Future Part Two, and then The Adventure of Baron Munchausen. Munchausen? I don't know how to say that one. Don't know what it is. What a weird group of movies.
Yeah, I've actually seen The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Munchausen. Okay. What is it?
It's Terry Gilliam. It's a weird Monty Python.
Oh, I've heard of that now. Okay. Okay.
It's not great. It's very all over the place. But visually, I guess it looks pretty good. The Abyss, for being such a famous movie and a success, is insanely hard to find. It's not streaming anywhere, not even to rent. I have a DVD of it at my apartment, but I'm not at my apartment, so I wasn't able to watch it for this. I was going to do that because 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but I wanted to make it a hat trick.
Yes, I would have also watched The Abyss if it was on streaming. James Cameron, Ed Harris, an Oscar win for visual effects. That's kind of enough, right? To go ahead and give it a go. It is like 2.5 hours, but that's fine. I can do that. One day, man, you'll be able to watch your DVD and I'll borrow it and we'll knock out another Oscar winner. It's always fun. Now, Back to the Future Part 2. I'm going to go ahead and say Dean Cundey for cinematography. I'm going to say Silvestri for score. Could be up for an Oscar. Screenplay. Christopher Lloyd, Best Supporting Actor. Tom Wilson, Best Supporting Actor. I don't know. I feel like it should have a whole slew of nominations.
I would give Wilson a supporting actor nomination for sure. I would give this production design without a doubt. Sound. I think sound mixing, sound editing, whatever it wants to call itself.
Yeah.
I'd give it that. Screenplay, I think yes, because this is a convoluted. This movie has potential to be incredibly hard to follow.
True.
But Zemeckis' storytelling is second to none, and he pulls it off. So I think screenplay credit for sure, or nomination. Yeah, I think cinematography is a good bet. Score is a good bet. That's about where I'd call it.
Now, knowing what we know, we've both seen all of the Best Picture nominees from this year.
Yeah,
just got it so wrong. This could be, if it were our ideal, Best Picture group. I'd venture to say, you could have Back to the Future Part 2. You could have Batman, maybe. You could have Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You could have Do the Right Thing. But instead, you're going with Driving Miss Daisy, taking a spot. That's stupid. Born on the 4th of July, pretty good Oliver Stone movie. I'm not going to say that doesn't deserve a spot. Dead Poet Society is probably what I would choose to win the goddamn award. It's the most powerful movie, I think. That one or Do the Right Thing from 1989. Field of Dreams, pretty solid. I don't think Field of Dreams is a Best Picture movie for me. I think I'd go with one of the other kind of big box office hits, like Back to the Future or Batman or Indiana Jones. And then My Left Foot, Oscar bait, definition of Oscar bait movie. I still like it a lot. Daniel Day-Lewis gets his first win there. So I understand that one. But I think this group could have been a lot more memorable if they would have done, maybe one or two of the more popular movies that are still really good. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think you drop Driving Miss Daisy. You just get that out of there. Kindly ask it to leave. Yeah. And you give that one to Do the Right Thing. I think you nix Field of Dreams. Give that one to Last Crusade. Actually, nix My Left Foot. I'm going to keep Field of Dreams. I really like Field of Dreams. I'm going to keep that.
I do too. Yeah, it's tough.
I'm going to nix My Left Foot. I'm going to give that to Last Crusade. So your 5 are Dead Poets, Do the Right Thing, Field of Dreams, Last Crusade, and Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, that'd be a kick-ass group. If it were really a perfect world, give me the Burbs, give me Christmas Vacation, just fucking make it crazy. 1989 is a great movie year for all kinds of movies. It's a really interesting point in American culture for sure. or things are about to definitely change as we get to the turn of the decade, going into the 90s. So I've always loved looking at this ceremony. Again, this is our fourth time. This is a very strong group of movies we've done. We've done Dead Poets, Do the Right Thing, When Harry Met Sally, and now Back to the Future Part 2. What a group. That alone could be a best picture category that I would be down with.
Yeah, good variety there. Good highlighting some fantastic movies from that year. And yeah, kind of going off the beaten path of the Oscars, which is what we've always done best.
Yeah, definitely like, shouting out different kinds of movies. When Harry Met Sally is a rom-com. Back to the Future Part 2 is a major, it's like the third highest grossing movie from that year behind Indiana Jones and Batman. And still holds up, still looks great. Do the Right Thing is like the movie that's like trying to really say something about what's happening in that year, in that time and place, and still holds up, obviously, and kind of unfortunately. Dead Poet Society is about like embracing life. We've done some cool stuff here, all over the board. And if we ever go back to this year, what would you have? Obviously, one day we're gonna have to do Driving with Stacey. That's that's for another time, for years from now. what movie from 1989 would you want to do? Would you want to like take a plunge into the abyss, or would you want to do something else?
Let's see. I'd really like to do Last Crusade, really.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
I'm looking through them now. Let's see here. I've heard good things about the Fabulous Baker Boys.
Yeah.
That could be good. Sex, Lies, and Videotape would be an interesting one.
I've thought about putting that on the schedule this year for, because Soderbergh was up for screenplay for that. That was his, that was the movie where people were like, oh, okay, all right, this guy's got something to say. And his new film Magic Mike, the Magic Mike 4 comes out, I believe, in
3. Magic Mike 3.
Oh, Magic Mike 3. Yeah, that's right. He directed the first one. Someone else did the second one. The second one sucks. Third one, I'm gonna see that. I love the first Magic Mike. I think it's fucking awesome. You can tell it's Soderbergh behind the camera. In the second one, you're like, what happened? Oh, Steven's not there. Okay, makes sense because it's just a fucking shit show. So I'm really looking forward to the third one. I think it'd be cool to do a Soderbergh film, and Sex, Lies, and Videotape is a really unique one to do. It only has that one nomination, so I've thought about doing that, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, the world is our oyster here on Oscar Sunday. We have a lot of different movies we can do, and making the schedule is half the fun for us.
True. I mean, if we want to get really ambitious, we could do Cinema Paradiso.
Oh, dude, I've never seen that, and I've been waiting for an excuse to watch it. Yeah. It's the best foreign language winner from out of Italy. That'd be really cool. Crimes and Misdemeanors. I feel like I got to see that at some point, even though I don't like, Woody Allen's not really my guy. I feel like I got to see it at some point.
I was making some letterboxed lists of like all the Oscar winning films I've seen in various categories. And I've only seen 2 documentary winners of the entire run of the Oscars. I've seen 2: One Day in September and Undefeated.
Okay, and all we've done on this show as documentaries go is Minding the Gap and Undefeated, right?
You guys did Hoop Dreams as well.
Oh, that's right. Me and my brother. So those are all sports related. Okay, let's get a doc on there soon.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to do more doc winners, more foreign winners, just to get those off my list.
Yeah, if you have a podcast to use, you might as well use it for knocking stuff off. Yeah, okay. I'll look at documentary winners. I'll probably do that today and kind of figure out which one we could do in the next few months. Yeah, I'd love to do a history-based one, maybe. Not sports. And don't worry, it won't be OJ Made in America. I won't. I saw that, but I watched that. It came out same as The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. It came out like every Monday for like a month straight. So like it was a docu-series. Like, come on. Like, it's not a documentary. It's not a movie. It's not a feature film. Because if that's the case, then The Last Dance should have won best doc at the Oscars as well. But it didn't because it was on TV. Like, it's a television show. It's a docu-series that was, The Last Dance is like 10 hours. Fucking OJ Made in America is like 6 or 7 hours. So I don't think those should count. And there's no way I'm gonna make both of us watch that within a week and give awards out to it. Yeah, it's like near impossible.
You'd think, considering how stringent the Oscars, like the Academy, are with their rules, that wouldn't have happened.
I think they were just like, holy fucking shit, we got to recognize this thing. It was like life changing watching that. I'll never forget. Just like every night it came on, I raced home from work and I was like, I cannot wait to fucking learn. It's one of those like really exciting things that happens in culture every now and again. It was really worthwhile. But I don't think it should have been up. That year, I think 13th should have won.
I'll watch it at some point. I'd like to start checking those out. Like I said, I've only seen two Oscar winning documentaries.
You'll love it because it is a fucking history lesson. Like, it is just yeah, you'll take a lot away from that, I'm sure.
Cool.
Oh man, this is fantastic. Let's see. We got, like I said earlier in the show, I've mentioned a couple times, we got Back to the Future Part 3 on Wednesday on FILMGAZM. Is there a fake true stories on the horizon?
We're gonna try to record one next week. Glory Road is gonna be the film. 2006 basketball biopic.
Love that movie. Yes. So a good old Texas story. That'll be fun. I can't wait for that. Okay, good. That's what you'll have next in line. I know what y'all are doing after that. It's quite ambitious, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be our first horror movie based on a true story, and that's gonna be interesting, kind of deciding like what is a true story when it comes to that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm also stoked. I've been listening to more Beyond the Bads lately, just because when I listened to the Waiting one, you guys made me fucking like belly laugh. I was just like fucking dying laughing. Mainly listening to him share his Subway stories and you share your Draft House stories of like working in the food industry. I was just dying laughing. So on Beyond the Bad this week, Batman: The Killing Joke, very divisive film, very very divisive. Most comic book people hate it, and then there's people like me who aren't as huge into comic books who are like, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. Not great, but it's not terrible in my opinion. I had fun, but it's not my favorite fucking Batman animated movie by a long shot. So I mean, I'm excited to hear you guys dig into it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the graphic novel. I think it's a groundbreaking graphic novel, and I think that what they added into the movie was unnecessary and kind of poisoned the well, and that's what pissed everybody off.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
we're gonna go into that and kind of talk about like why did they do that?
Yeah, that's the confusing thing. That's cool because that movie just came out like 5 or 6 years ago, so that'll be neat. Let's see. And next week on this show, I will be absent. I'm going to a wedding in Dallas, so I asked Connor to take over, and of course, like the good captain he is, he's going to take over, and he's going to bring on Josh Allred for his first Oscar Sunday. gonna be really cool. Josh mentioned this movie to us months ago, a western called Broken Lance, 1954, starring Spencer Tracy, Robert Wagner. It's one of those that I'm gonna watch anyway, even though I'm not gonna be on the episode. It's one of those I've wanted to see. God, Spencer Tracy's the fucking man. So I'm stoked to have Josh be with you on his first Oscar Sunday, a movie he recommended, and it'll be cool to see what y'all do with the movie. I don't think it's on streaming right now. If I might be mistaken, but I think you do have to rent it, unless you own it. But I would suggest checking that on coming back, because when Josh wants to do something, he's gonna fucking do it, and you can clearly tell that there's passion for this movie, for Broken Lance, with Josh. So I'm sure he's gonna bring the heat. it'll be a cool, different perspective on the Oscars from him. He's, him and Caleb are very much opposite of Connor and I when it comes to the Oscars. All four of us think it's silly, but they openly just think it's dumb as shit. So I get it. I totally get it, and I kind of agree with them. But I also love a lot of Oscar nominated movies and a lot of Oscar winners. So just take it for what it is. That'll be cool. Broken Lance. So we got Back to the Future Part 3, Killing Joke, Broken Lance this week. Nice and random, all over the board. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, Fake True Stories is going to be coming back with some heat with Glory Road. Can't wait to hear that episode, hopefully in a couple weeks. Thank you guys for listening. This is an absolute blast. This was a special episode for Connor's birthday. Got to knock out his second favorite movie of all time. So we're getting through it, man. We're working through your top 10. nice and easy. That's one of the coolest things that I get to do is hang out with you and talk about your favorite stuff. So keep watching movies, guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Definitely follow Connor95 on Letterboxd. He's churning out stuff. I'm loving how active you are now because all of your reviews are on there. Very cool. You can stay engaged with what we're thinking about movies and what we're watching. We both knocked out a shit ton of movies already throughout January, and we intend on doing that all year. So thank you guys. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you on Wednesday.